what exactly is going on here? Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. In today's video, we will be revisiting fellow Canadian content creator Linda Sun. Before we get into it, let's play a little game called Abby's Daily Hunger Crushing Combo. Today I had like a lighter breakfast, so I'm feeling like a little something before I go out for lunch. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna make. We got sourdough toast and apple for fiber. We've got some almond butter for some healthy fats. And I've got one of my favorite Built Bar granola bars. You guys know I love these because they taste like real chocolate because they're actually made with chocolate. Plus they pack a ton of protein and they come in so many different really delicious fun flavors. So this is one of my go-tos. It's the white chocolate berry and it's got 15 grams of protein. Let's make it into a hunger crushing combo. This is so easy, so satiating, and also just so delicious. So if you want to try Built Bars for yourself, check out the link in the description and use my promo code AbbeySharp15 to get 15% off of your order. And you can pause the screen or look at the description to check out my disclaimer, including a trigger warning to those with current or previous experiences with disordered eating. As always, feel free to skip this video if it's not supportive to your journey. And if you are not already subscribed here, please hit that subscribe button and follow me over on TikTok and Instagram at Abby's Kitchen. So Linda is no stranger to the channel here, as I previously reviewed one of her What Ain't a Days, which you can watch right here, and she's even been a guest on my Fed Up series. So Linda and I see eye to eye on a lot of things. We both love a good clickbait title, and Linda is legit the queen of that. I like audibly gasp anytime I see her video titles in my feed. Belinda and I also both have a history of disordered eating and now aim to eat intuitively however we can. And since I know how many of you still feel overwhelmed and confused about intuitive eating and what it actually means, I thought we would use some of Linda's content as examples of what it looks like in real life. Principle number 1, reject the diet mentality.
Instead of my before and after or the flatness in my stomach, I look at energy levels, workouts becoming easier, showing up for myself, slowing down for myself.
Rejecting the diet mentality is the very first principle of intuitive eating for good reason. Because we absolutely cannot heal our relationship with food or start to eat intuitively if we're doing it from a place of restriction. Which is why this principle calls on us to unlearn a lot of the diet culture messaging that has become so normalized and ingrained in our day-to-day. Things like before and after photos, accepting stomach rolls, or feeling like that we can't fit into last season's jeans. Rejecting the diet mentality challenges us to reframe and unlearn these internalized thoughts and behaviors and not let our size dictate our worth or well-being. So rather than strictly focusing on weight loss as a main outcome, you can start to tune into how your body feels and other measures of health and progress like energy levels, mood, digestion, strength, endurance, hydration, sleep quality, stress management, etc. Principle number 2, honor your hunger.
The clock in my body is way more accurate at telling me the right time to eat than the one on my phone screen. Fueling for a more energized me. It meant tuning in to how much is too much and how much is not enough. Making sure I never get too hungry between meals, respecting that hunger varies day to day, and never feeling guilty about fueling my body.
A major component of intuitive eating is to start respecting our internal hunger cues rather than trying to suppress them because like a diet book, influencer, or even a well-meaning family member tells you you're not hungry yet.
I have a couple of almonds, chew them really well.
So this might mean ditching a calorie tracking app that caps your calories for the day, or no longer cleaning your plate to determine when to stop eating. Or perhaps it means giving yourself permission to eat at irregular times during the day because that's when your hunger naturally strikes. And by tuning into your internal cues, you can start to tap into your innate body wisdom and collect data on how different foods make you feel. You might learn that you feel better and more energized by prioritizing a larger breakfast in the morning, or that more carbs at dinner helps to curb a late night binge. Tuning into your hunger becomes an internal barometer for fueling your body from a place of self-care rather than suppression and restriction.
I wasn't fully giving myself unconditional permission to enjoy it. I ate all the foods, all the ones that I used to label unhealthy or bad, but eating these foods still came with constant guilt, shame, and judgment. I can physically be eating the dessert, but if mentally I'm worried the entire time, or even just a little bit about how the cake is going to affect my weight, or how many bites I'm allowed to take, whether or not I can eat dessert tomorrow, mentally, I didn't let myself have that cake.
Making peace with food is all about giving yourself unconditional permission to eat all foods without judgment or moral value. And as Linda puts it, you can physically give yourself unconditional permission to eat, but if your emotions are not aligned, then you actually deprive yourself of the emotional satisfaction from food. And I love this distinction because it speaks to how the physical satiety and emotional satisfaction are both incredibly important. And this is why we need to reject diet mentality first, because without that critical step, we're really just trapped in a state of restriction, guilt, and shame. So to find true food freedom, we have to kick food off its pedestal to neutralize the power it has over our lives. Cake can just be cake, and you don't need to be good or bad for enjoying it. Principle number 4, challenge the food police.
There's a difference between I don't need the fries and I don't want the fries. I don't need is restrictive. I don't want is still allowing yourself to have them. Maybe you're just not feeling them today. See, food isn't the problem, the thoughts are the problem.
Challenging the food police is all about unpacking those internalized food rules and quieting the diet chatter telling you that you are good for choosing a salad or that you are bad for skipping your workout.
Don't be so selfish!
But once you start to tune into not only your physical cues, but your internal dialogue, you can start to challenge and reframe these thoughts and patterns and identify the true intention behind your choices. Are you choosing that salad because it's diet approved? Or are you genuinely craving something light and refreshing and crunchy with lots of fresh veg? Are you going to that workout class to work off that burger that you ate last night? Or are you exercising as a way to take care of your body because it makes you feel good? It really comes down to distinguishing between what is self-care and what is self-control. And that brings me to principle number 5, discover the satisfaction factor.
Going on a date with my meal. Sitting down with my meal, giving it my full, undivided attention, appreciating its beauty, its smell and taste and texture and flavor, savoring my time with it, asking myself how they make me feel.
I love this approach, and I think it's a great way to stay present rather than eating mindlessly on autopilot. And by tuning into the sensory aspects of food, you can gain more data around the types of flavors, textures, combinations, and quantities that feel good to you. And as I mentioned earlier, you can be physically full, but still feel emotionally deprived if the food you eat is not actually that satisfying. Like, a lot of bodybuilders meet their nutritional needs on chicken breasts and rice, but they still feel the need to binge on their cheat day. And satisfaction isn't just to prevent a binge restrict cycle. It might also have some physical health benefits as well, with some interesting research suggesting that we may actually absorb less nutrients from a meal that we don't emotionally enjoy. So food is obviously way more than just fuel, and we need to aim to nourish and honor our body and our taste buds. Principle number 6, feeling your fullness.
One word came to mind: restriction. My stomach can be full, but my mind can still be hungry. Restrictive thoughts make me hungry. And studies have even proven that just thinking about restricting can lead to overeating and binging.
So the research in this area is a bit vague, but clinically, we see this all the time. Humans don't like to be denied things that we like.
What happens if we take it away? What happens?
And when we are, we often see the pendulum swing in the other direction. This also speaks to the different types of hunger that we often experience. So there's stomach hunger, which is the physical sensation of hunger signaled by a grumbling stomach or feeling physically full after a meal. There's mouth hunger, which is a craving for a specific type of food or flavor, like dessert after a meal. And then there's emotional hunger, which is driven by our emotions. And all 3 types of hunger are completely valid and deserve to be honored. So I think it's best practice to start to foster an awareness around what type of hunger is in the driver's seat, while honoring that, collecting the data, and approaching those food decisions with compassion and zero judgment. Principle number 7, cope with your emotions with kindness.
Instead of dealing with my emotions, I eat a snack. Emotional eating, Linda. A comforting meal is exactly what I need on the tough days. I know it's not a fix or a cure, but I find that emotional eating is an opportunity for me to learn more about my body and myself and my feelings, and allowing myself to emotionally eat has helped me gain a better relationship with food because it makes me ask why.
So I first want to say that emotional eating is a perfectly normal coping strategy. I mean, we are all emotional human beings at the end of the day, and from birth on the breast or the bottle, we quickly learn that food is the ultimate comfort. So there's absolutely no shame in reaching for the Ben & Jerry's on a rough day.
Here you go, honey, this will help.
But if you're finding that most of your eating decisions are driven by your emotions, we may want to work on finding other emotional regulation strategies for those times of need. And as Linda puts it, it's a good opportunity to learn about ourselves when we approach emotional eating with curiosity, awareness, and self-compassion. So again, it really comes down to getting in tune with your intention and letting go of any guilt and shame that might come along with it. Principle number 8, respect your body.
Hardest part was being lethargic, tired, sad, really sad, being angry for no reason, and just feeling bad. I hated how I was treating my body, fueling my body to feel my best, not look my best. I was unhappy because of the way I was living, not the body I was living in. But my lack of self-confidence with the extra weight didn't help. But that wasn't the root of the problem. It was just a symptom. I wasn't going to blame my body this time.
This is such a well-articulated example of how to respect and care for your body, even if you don't exactly love the way that it looks. And I want to acknowledge that it is totally normal and valid to want to change your body. We live in an aesthetically obsessed world that gives disproportionate privilege to folks in smaller bodies. But even if you're not super jazzed about a bit of weight gain, your body still deserves to be cared for, and you still deserve to eat. So I love that Linda doesn't immediately revert to punishing her body through restriction or over-exercising, but rather decides to give her body a little TLC by moving in a way that feels good, nourishing and fueling her body with foods that she loves and gives her energy, while also cutting back on alcohol and prioritizing rest. This is also a great reminder of how the sole purpose of food and exercise goes far beyond just weight loss or weight maintenance. They both play a big role in our mood, energy levels, digestion, cognition, blood pressure, sleep quality, muscle mass, the list goes on. So respecting your body really comes down to treating it with love and compassion and care, not trying to make it smaller by pushing it beyond its limits or depriving it of the sustenance that it needs. And that brings me to principle number 9, joyful movement.
The simplest things like reading, family movie night, cooking with my mom, spoonfuls of peanut butter, coffee flavor drops, lotioning my legs, yoga flows, going on super long walks, doing workouts that I want, lemon tahini dressing.
We love a happiness routine, and I think joyful movement is so essential for feeling your best. And unfortunately, it often feels like diet culture has co-opted exercise as strictly a way of manipulating your body and making it smaller, or punishing yourself for too many peanut butter M&Ms.
I feel like such a heifer. I had 2 bowls of Special K, 3 pieces of turkey bacon, a handful of popcorn, 5 peanut butter M&Ms.
But when we shift the focus to how exercise makes us feel, we gain more knowledge on the types of exercise that we genuinely enjoy. You might notice that you feel more energized or relaxed. Perhaps it helps to relieve stress or put you in a better mood, or maybe you find that certain exercises improve your focus or sleep quality. All of these are great reasons to move, even if your body doesn't change. Plus, research suggests that you're far more likely to maintain a regimen that you actually enjoy. So for those of you who maybe have had negative experiences with exercise programs in the past, which have tainted your interest in revisiting them, try reframing exercise as movement instead. And finally, principle number 10, honoring health with gentle nutrition.
Build a foundation of trust, respect, kindness, and relearn how to listen to my body. Not a dramatic transformation, but tiny steps every day. My focus was energy, fuel, nutrients, protein. I focused on color, adding greens and oranges and pretty fruits and more crunch and textures and flavors and delicious ways to the meals I already loved. Making food and cooking and mealtime fun again by trying new recipes I've always wanted to try, balancing my plates with proteins and fats and carbs.
And this is exactly why I think Linda is such a great example of someone who models intuitive eating in real time. Because ultimately, at its core, intuitive eating is about honoring your health through a flexible approach to nutrition that emphasizes balance, variety, and foods that make you feel your best. It isn't a rigid meal plan. It isn't numbers or portion focused. It doesn't have any strict rules, nor does it forbid any foods. But rather, the intention is to focus on gentle building blocks like balance and satisfaction from a place of body respect, compassion, and self-care. So while the intuitive eating journey is certainly not linear or black and white, I really appreciate Linda sharing her candid and real intuitive eating journey and how she was able to get back in touch with herself whenever she experiences a bump along the way. Because even the most seasoned Bopo queens will run into roadblocks, especially when you're here on social media where diet culture is very much alive and well. It often feels like we are fighting against a turbulent current, and my channel alone is evidence of the sheer volume of that wave. But seeing Linda shine in the YouTube space and the growing popularity of her channel gives me confidence that more and more viewers are keen to start their own food freedom journeys. And as the kids say, we love to see it. So if you want to take a deeper dive into each intuitive eating principle, I have a whole intuitive eating series on my channel, which you can watch right here. And on that note, that's all that I have for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it the thumbs up, leave me a comment below on who or what I should review next, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye!